Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Live. Now, it affords local theatre audiences the opportunity to walk in the shoes of misunderstood others, like people who use drugs, dealers, police officers, social workers, or families of people who use drugs. That's the award-winning theatre production Ulwembu, which puts the spotlight on a low-grade heroin known as Whoonga. The production is the result of a 2-year research project conducted by a team of storytellers, playwrights, theatre makers, academics, and researchers. Now, Ulwembu is heading to Johannesburg for a run at the Hillbrow Theatre from the 25th to the 27th of January. Two of the researchers, Dr. Dylan McGarry and Zenzo Msomi, are in our Durban studios to tell us more about the production, which, by the way, in isiZulu means spiderweb. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dylan, let's start with you. I mean, what led to you and your team conducting research into this drug?
Whoonga is a really big problem in South Africa, and in Durban especially, and so we realized that there was more to the story than just the drug itself, but the situations between people and in communities, and the relationships between families, and the problems the police were having, that social workers were having. So we realized that we needed to look beyond that, and so we put together this team to do this kind of really in-depth research.
Zenzo, I mean, what are some of the findings or the highlights for you as part of the research team?
I think one of the greatest findings is that the story of drugs and drug use is far more complex than we give it credit for. The tagline of the show is the opposite of addiction is connection, and I think one of the biggest findings we found is that the relationship to drug use and being disconnected, not feeling part of something, to feel like you are almost subhuman. I mean, the pathologizing of drug users in South Africa is really big, and a really difficult problem. So I think for us, the biggest finding we found was the power of people feeling connected, people feeling part of something, people feeling like humans again, because it's a really dehumanizing process.
Let's bring Zenzo into this conversation. For you personally, Zenzo, and being part of the production that we'll talk about in a minute, what are some of the highlights for you of being part of this team?
Well, the highlights for me, because when we did the research, we spoke to the police, we spoke to the school teachers, we spoke to the users themselves, and we spoke to the parents of the users. So what was really the question for me was, how do the community, respond to this crisis?
Yeah.
What is their attitude towards it? So we had to find those answers. And the answers that we found was that people are really turning a blind eye towards the crisis because they don't see it as their problem. It's someone else's. They don't think it's something that can happen to their own children.
All right. Now, the research then led to a production, a theatre production, and a book that we'll chat about in a moment. Talk to us about that production and, taking all that research and putting it into a stage production.
The production follows the story of Portia. Portia is a policewoman who is busy trying to solve this Whoonga crisis in the township of KwaMashu. And Sipho is her son. Sipho gets caught up in the Whoonga addiction because Portia is very busy at work, is putting so many hours, and then Sipho feels neglected. And then Portia doesn't see that Sipho is starting to use Whoonga. So Ulwembu tries to show, it's a reflection of the community, of what the community is saying about the Whoonga.
Dr. Dylan McGarry, let's bring you back into this conversation. What has been the reaction from the public regarding this production? Because you guys started this research in 2014 and then a stage production. What has been some of the response from the public?
The response has been overwhelming. I didn't think, when we got into this, we didn't realize it would have such a big impact. We used different versions of theatre to grow this production. So we also used a process of invisible theatre, which is where we took verbatim stories of real people, police, dealers, users. The actors were the researchers themselves, and they would go into spaces like police forums and community forums and speak on behalf of people who couldn't be in there. And just that process at the beginning, we got such incredible feedback that allowed us to grow the show. So the theatre production is an ongoing, evolving story because of this incredible feedback we've got from people. So, for example, we've had people on the streets come to us and say, "Are you part of the drug play? Can we come watch it?" And bringing them into the theatre. So we've had communities who normally don't have access to theatre to come and see their own stories being played out.
Yeah.
The youngest Whoonga user we've met was 8 years old, and she came to watch one of the shows. She's living on the streets. It's a really tragic, difficult thing when we realize that there are children that are addicted to heroin in our country. So the feedback itself is a very big part of our research, and we've also really lucky to have also got really good feedback from the theatre community, and the show has recently won several awards, and so it feels like on multiple levels that we're getting really positive feedback. And the most exciting now is the policy feedback. We'll be performing to policymakers in Durban, to members of parliament, to see what we can do towards using theatre as a way, as a policy tool, to get these stories into policy and to look at trying to transform those systems themselves.
Yeah, we've run out of time, but we need to chat about the book. That book as well, tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so we've published the play. It's in English and in isiZulu. And inside the book we also have work around the research itself and how we came to develop this work. And then also some of the feedback we've had from communities, from users, from police, from a variety of different people involved in telling the story. And it really hasn't just been us. We're part of a much wider community of people who are trying to create positive, holistic harm reduction in the country that's treating people like human beings again.
All right. Dr. Dylan McGarry is a researcher and co-writer, while Zenzo Msomi is also an actor, but he's also took part in the research, speaking to us about the award-winning theatre production, Ulwembu, which heads to the Hillbrow Theatre for a short run. That's on the 25th to the 27th of January. All right. Let's take a quick ad break. Stay with us.